A few other things that I thought about the series. I really enjoyed this series, and I can't really talk about a lot of the stuff within the review just because it would spoil it for a lot of people. And some of the main things that I really enjoyed while watching the series was that I was capable of going about a year or whatever since this had came out without spoiling myself. Even though a lot of my friends have seen this series, I was capable of going that long without spoiling myself to it. So going through this series, I didn't know anything that was going to happen. In the beginning, I kind of thought that Menma was just going to be a ghost or a hallucination, just because the main character, Jintan here, he's a hikikomori, and he doesn't really understand if this is part of his own imagination or if it is really a ghost, because most people just don't believe in ghosts. You know, if you can see it and nobody else can, that's kind of weird. One thing that really got to me within this series was that he has this group of friends, and they all grew up together, so they all share this bond between each other. And all they could really do is just humor him in the beginning. Some of them humor him, and some of them just pity him, and they go along with whatever he's got to say. I felt really bad for him because he really couldn't see that they were just doing this because they pitied him. One character that I really did not like within this series, I really did not like Yukiyatsu. Sure, he did that whole cross-dressing thing, but I kind of think he was trying to see if Jintan actually was seeing Menma. We don't know this until later on, but Yukiyatsu has a huge thing for Menma, and ever since Menma died, just like everybody else, he has been just ridden with guilt. And actually, I believe that Yukiyatsu took Menma's death the hardest out of anybody just because it just made him snap. But it wasn't just him that suffered the guilt of Menma's death, it was all of them, everyone. All of these characters have such deep feelings for each other. We have Saruko, who has this obvious crush on Yukiyatsu, but then we have Yukiyatsu, who doesn't even pay attention to her. His main focus is Menma, but when he can't have Menma, he just wants to have Anaru. That's another reason why I really dislike this character, because first of all, he wants all the women within the series except for that one woman who would give everything for him. She really just went through school trying to keep up with him. She studied so hard and became this student who's almost at the top of her class just to keep up. She did all that just to keep up with Yukiyatsu, and he couldn't really understand any of that. Of course, at the end of the day, he is a very book-smart person, but he's just a stupid teenager which can't really understand the feelings of women. Not only that, but we have the strong feelings of Anaru for Jintan. I think that if the story of Anohana did carry on, I think that Jintan would end up with Anaru just because they do have a really good connection with each other. They get along pretty well. Plus, Anaru is my second favorite female character within the series, aside from, of course, Menma. Menma overall is just an amazing character. She's a very strong character, even though she doesn't lead on to be. She appears to be very weak and fragile, but yet she has a very strong emotional side to her. She cares for everyone else's well-being far more than she cares for her own. That's what makes her such a great character. But then, at the end of it, we had this whole dilemma for if she were to pass on and go to the next life, or if she would stay with Jintan. Because that's a really hard choice for Jintan, because Jintan, he knows how much Anaru cares for him, but that doesn't really mean as much to him because he doesn't necessarily care too much for her, just because he only has feelings for Menma. But overall, Menma, she really valued that promise that she made to Jintan's mom. She could have just stayed with Jintan. She could have stayed, and that would have made her happy because out of everyone, she chose to appear to Jintan because he meant the most to her. But I think that if she knew how much she meant to Jintan, she probably wouldn't have appeared to him. She might have appeared to somebody else, I think, just because she would have known how sad that would have made him. She was capable of completing the promise which she made to Jintan's mom, but I think that that's an underthought to what she actually achieved. Because in the beginning of the series, we have Jintan, who is actually on this journey to find out what it is that she wants, because usually it is just the stereotype that whenever you have a ghost, they have some unresolved wish in the world. So he's trying to make her happy so that she can pass on and be at peace. She kind of wants that too, but she's really enjoying her time here. But in the end, Jintan is trying to help Menma, but he doesn't really see how much Menma actually helps him, how much Menma actually helps everyone. Not only is she capable of bringing back the Super Peacebusters, but she actually gets rid of all the drama between them. And because of that episode that we see right before the last episode, we can see that all of the characters are just breaking down and letting everyone know their true feelings. And that really creates a stronger bond than they originally had. I think because of the journey that they had with Menma, they have a stronger bond than they did before, just because everyone knows how they truly feel. And as time goes on, I could really see a bit more and more of Yukiyatsu, just because of, you really could expect that the whole Menma situation was some deep scar within him, and something that he just, as time went on, you got to learn more about. So that's understandable, but one character that you really did not expect to have such a deep breakdown in the end was Popo, because throughout the entire series, he was this easygoing person. He was just traveling the world. You expected him to have a great life. The reason why he was doing all this was because he was trying to leave behind. He was trying to forget the death of Menma. He was trying to escape that moment. And the thing is, with all of these characters, is that they think of themselves as being stuck within that same moment, and they're trying to do as much as they can to leave that moment behind. Except for Suruko, who is obsessed with Yukiyatsu, but she wants him to leave that moment behind so that he can move on and be with her. But all of these characters, they see themselves as being stuck within the same moment, and they see everyone else as being the ones that's changed. They're all just trying so hard to leave that moment behind, but they don't really realize how much they have changed themselves. One of my more favorite parts with Jintan's father was that when Menma tricked Jintan into saying "have a nice day" to his father, you could really see the change of emotion in his face, and I really enjoyed that. But the parents that really had the most depth within the series, or the family that had the most depth, was, of course, Menma's family. Because we see the whole time the mom is just this really depressed person. She hasn't really changed at all since Menma died. And Menma's brother is just so nonchalant because he was so young when Menma died. And Menma's father, of course, he's trying to do the right thing. He is trying to, of course, let everyone continue on with their lives, because it is really sad that his daughter Menma died, but it is more important that you enjoy your life, because you can't just mope around forever for someone's death. You've got to, eventually move on. You can remember it, but, at the same time, you've still got to live your life because you are still alive. And at the end, I really think at their personal fireworks festival that it was really great when Menma's family actually came there. I really think that it took a lot for Menma's mom to come out there and see that. And of course, at the end of this series, the way that Menma leaves, that is just the perfect ending, because she leaves on a note her true feelings for every single person. She didn't really have the time to say it to them, but everyone knows how she felt about them. I really felt that this was a perfect way to wrap up the series. I would love to see an after story to this. I would really like to play the visual novel to this series, but I really doubt that that would ever come out to the United States. I would really enjoy to play that game because the character development within the series was just so great, and visual novels always have multiple different endings. I'm really interested in reading this manga, though. I'm going to wait for it to advance a little bit more and see if I can read some of that. Anyways, that's all for now. Thank you for watching this after review, I guess, because there were just plenty of things that I wanted to talk about the series, but I just couldn't with a review because I didn't want to spoil it for people. But if you want to leave a spoiler comment, then go for it, because I really intend for the only people to watch this video are people who have actually seen Anohana. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you later.